Hello, Algebra 1 students. Today's video lesson is 8.2. It's finding the vital parts of a quadrilateral on a calculator. Or I'll give you some equations. You've got to find all the things that we did yesterday. So we've got x-intercept, y-intercept, maximum or minimum, vertex, and the axis of symmetry. I would write these steps down. Remember, you do need to take notes. I will be checking notes when I get back. You need to make sure that you're answering these questions because these are for a grade. Okay? So there's actually two ways to find an x-intercept. I'm going to go ahead and let you write these down. So if you need to, hit pause. But on the calculator, going through the calculator way, you're going to go to Calculator, Menu, Algebra, Find Roots, Enter, then you have to type in ABC. So I'm going to give you an example that we're going to do together. So if I have 4x squared plus 9x plus 5 equals 0. And I need to know the x-intercept or the solutions of this thing. Now, if you didn't have your calculator, you would have to use the quadratic formula. You would have to you could do that, or you could factor, or you could use completing the square. But I'm going to teach you how to do it on the calculator. Okay? So I want you to have this in mind. You should have this written down. So 4x squared plus 9x plus 5. I'm going to write this down for myself so I remember what we're talking about. Okay? So, here we go. On our calculator, from our home screen, remember, let's go ahead and start a new document just in case someone's got something in there that's going to mess you up. We're going to go to Add a Calculator. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Menu. We want to do Algebra. And I'm going to go to Polynomial Tools. I'm sorry, I messed that up. Find roots of a polynomial. Okay? So I'm going to let you rewrite that. And you go to Polynomial Tools, Find Roots of a Polynomial. They've changed that on me a little bit. We'll always be in degree 2 if we're doing a quadratic. You will change this number in Algebra 2. We're always looking for real roots. We don't care about imaginary roots right now. So hit OK. Now all I have to do is put in A, B, and C. On here they call it A2, A1, and AO. That's okay. So we know it was 4x squared plus 9x plus 5. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to tell me, okay, I typed in your polynomial for you. Let's find the roots. So I know the solutions to that are negative 5/4 and negative 1. So that's exactly what you did when you use the quadratic formula and all that, but your calculator will do it in one step. Okay? And I'm actually going to do one more with you just so you have another chance to type those in. Let's try negative x squared plus 10, let's make it 100, equals 0. What are my zeros or roots or solutions going to be to that one? Okay, so here we go. We're back to the calculator. We're going to go to Menu, Algebra, Polynomial Tools, Find Roots. Okay, and we skip through that. Okay, so it was negative x squared, so that's negative 1. There was not an x, so I'm going to put a 0. And then we said it was plus 100. Okay, so we're going to say OK. And go. Negative 10 and 10, so plus or minus 10. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. So now we know how to find it that way. Now, most of the things that we will be finding are going to be found, we're going to find everything on the graph. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you that way too. That way you know that it's easier to get to. Okay. So I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go to graph. Oops, hang on. Go ahead and hit pause real quick and write these steps down. Okay. So now that you've got those written down, we're going to go to Graph, we're going to type in our quadratic equation, we're going to go to Menu, Analyze Graph, 0, and I'll explain this part in just a second. So here we go. We're going to go to Graph, we're going to type in our function. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same example we did a minute ago. So 4x squared. Make sure you hit the right arrow after you do your squared so that you're not doing everything in an exponent. Plus 9x plus 5. Okay? So we're going to type it in and hit enter. There's our quadratic. Okay? And so now I'm going to hit Menu, Analyze Graph. We want to find the zeros. So it's going to tell me lower bound, which means you want to be on the left side of your 0. So I'm going to go ahead and be somewhere over here to the left, doesn't matter where, and click. And now it says upper bound. Well, I'm going to drag this until I find a 0. And see, it says there 0. So here it prints you a little negative 1.5 or 1.25, 0. So negative 1.25 is one of your solutions. Now when we did that a minute ago, we found 2 solutions. So to find the other one, do the same steps. Analyze graph. We want a 0. So I'm going to go somewhere over here on the left. And the upper bound, oh, it found another 0. Negative 1 is our other 0. Now it can get really messy when you've got all this stuff popping up, because it just pops up these points on your graph. So just be really careful. If you need to, when you have your little hand, if you hit Control and the middle button while it says text, then it'll grab it and you can drag it around wherever you want it to go. Okay? Let's try another example. So I'm going to do our negative x squared plus 100. Oh my gosh, I can't see anything. Well, here's how we can fix that. We can go to Menu, Zoom. We want our stuff to fit. Oops, excuse me, I'm sorry, I bumped the thing here. So if you go to Zoom Fit, now I can see my whole parabola. And I can do Analyze Graph, 0. Now, that was a bad example. Hang on. I just want you to see I'm not a liar here. I'm going to zoom out one step. I want this to be my center. Okay, now we can see the whole parabola. Got a little wiggle room. So if you need to zoom out, that'll work. So 0, we want to be on the left side of it. Oh, there's one at negative 10. Cool. Menu, Analyze Graph, 0, left, right, positive 10. Nothing to it. Okay? The y-intercept we can find by doing graph, type in the quadratic, trace graph, and find the y-intercepts. Let me show you how that works. I'm going to let's find the y-intercept of this one. So I've already typed everything in, and now I'm going to go to trace, graph trace, and if I hit left, it's going to go down my parabola, but I know where, looking at my graph, I know my y-intercept should be right about here. It tells me my y-intercept is right there at 0, 100. Okay? So that's how you'll do that. You just wheel around till you find what you need. You can also find your zeros like that too, if you want to. Actually, I've never thought about that before. Cool. So there's that taken care of. Okay. A maximum or minimum. You have to know by looking at the graph or the equation. Actually, let me fix this real quick because I didn't think about this earlier. If you have a positive x squared, you are going to have a minimum. If you have a negative x squared, you are going to have a maximum. Kind of backwards from what you would think, but that's okay. Okay. So we have our maximum or minimum. We're going to go to graph, type it in, menu, max or min, choose your window, just like we did for zeros. So, let me see here. Let's do, I'm going to write it down so y'all know. Let's do x squared minus 3. We're going to find the vertex of that. Or, I'm sorry, the maximum or minimum. Okay. So, here we go. I'm going to go to graph. And I'm going to say, I'm just clearing out all this stuff, guys. So I'm going to say, okay, x squared, was it plus or minus 3? Minus 3, okay. Minus 3. Okay, so I want to know, first thing I have to ask myself, is that a maximum or minimum? Well, it's a smiley face, so I know it is a minimum. And it's a positive x squared, so I know it's a minimum. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to Analyze Graph. I'm going to find the minimum. I'm going to put this lower bound on the left side of my dip, and this on the right. So my minimum is at 0, negative 3. Okay? Let's try one with a maximum. So I'll do negative x squared plus 3. Why not? So I'm going to go home, graph. Yes, you know, all that junk is in there. Perfect. And if all else fails, just start a new document and it'll clear everything out for you. So I got negative x squared plus 3. Alright. So this is a hump, so I know it's a maximum. So I'm going to go to Analyze Graph. Go to Maximum. There it is. 0, 3 is my maximum. Now, the good news is, the vertex is the maximum or the minimum. So once you know the maximum or minimum, that's actually your vertex. Okay? And the axis of symmetry, if you found the maximum or minimum, the vertex is the x-coordinate. So, I'm using this example right here. My vertex of this one would be 0, 3, the point. And now if I wanted to do the axis of symmetry, I would, look at the x-coordinate of that point and say, oh, well my axis of symmetry is at x equals 0, which is right there. That would cut it in half. So, maybe, sorry, I'm having trouble getting back to where I want to go. So in that example, it would be x equals 0. Okay? Now, at this point, it's time for you to practice. I've shown you how to get everything, so just answer the questions that come up, okay? So here's your first one. Here's your second one. Here's your third one. Here's your fourth one. Here's your fifth one. Here's your sixth one. Here's your seventh one. And that will do it for today. Make sure you've filled this in. I will see you guys tomorrow.